So anyway, I want to give you MTM Mountaintop Music Update. Hey, you know what? 4th of July really does something to me. I see crap and stuff and litter and stuff after the fact, like this morning. I hear, complaints about how people are and stuff, and it's just the way that I felt things have been. These young people, what they want to do is they want to fucking torment people with these fucking fireworks. And by the way, I am fucking sick of seeing people tormenting people. Do you understand that? And by the way, when your family gets fucking just, everything goes and they just keep tormenting person, and then you find out what it's really about, and it's all a bunch of satanic activity that happened right here in 1007 7th Street. There's been things happening in my life for a long time. Women claiming stuff about witchcraft, such as my Aunt Jeannie calling her own daughter that little witch. And my grandmother having that farm over there with 3 girls and, 3 little witches. And my grandmother was Zodiac too. Isabel L. Dunn, or whatever, it adds up to 13 letters. George L. Wright adds up to 13 letters. Marietta L. Wright, I think, adds up to 14 letters. And by the way, Valentine's Day, 14th, my mother's birthday. And let's see, Jerry L. Wright, that's my mother's son, which they also had a sexual relationship with. My brother Jerry, he hates red tomatoes. I mean, there's a story about him eating tomatoes at my grandmother's farm so much that he got sick. There's stories where he took the riding crop, or the horse crop, as a whip, small whip, I'm sure, my Aunt Jeannie's, from Jeannie, because my Aunt Jeannie was threatening to hit Jerry with it. I mean, my brother Jerry was tormenting at a young age because of his mother. And, Jerry L. Dunn is in the cemetery right there next to 15619 Brush Prairie. At that cemetery right there, the aerial transponder is just right there near it. My grandmother told me in that house right there before she died that my dad's clothes was upstairs, and she said I had to tell him to get them out. And I actually remember looking in those and seeing his clothes, and they resembled what they showed on the D.B. Cooper stunt. And also, back in, I believe it was 1980, when my mother had left my dad, she says something that went on for 24 years, it won't happen for 25. Well, 6666. My mother was right there doing stuff. My mother was doing those crossword puzzles with the Zodiac and stuff, and my mother was a crossword puzzle champion. I'll tell you, she'd sit there and she'd do all that stuff, playing little games with people. And she also, she always wanted to use the children. And her daughter, Patty Allwright, she always wanted to use the children too. And I remember I came down and I seen Matthew in there hanging out with Patty and all these kids, and Patty was getting them drunk. Matt wasn't drinking. I was in there and I asked Matt, I said, Matt, what are you doing in here? Well, Matt says, he told me after the fact, I said, hey, let's go. Like this, because I wasn't going to let him hang out with that bullshit. And he told me, he says, I thought you were just going to throw me away with everyone else. I mean, I don't know what that fucking statement was, but I told Matt, I said, Matt, why would you ever think that I would ever throw you away? I mean, this is what these here people was doing, was saying things behind, people's backs and undermining these children and turning people against people. And matter of fact, when you want to talk about the Republican Party and the Republican fucking sheriff's office and the cops up there in Chehalis, Washington, I'll say Chehalis because that's where my son was going to school. It's also in Centralia, of course. two neighboring cities side by side. Little Tijuana right in between. Similar situation. Tijuana's just a little bit further out of town, but it's all the same. Now, they had a DARE program there, and I ran a bowling alley, and those kids fucking started doing drugs and stuff, and those cops were fucking teaching them. I found the kids and parents connected with me at that bowling alley, and you know, I ended up withdrawing my son out of school, you know, because my son was getting really fucking nosy and stuff and about drugs. They taught these children how to do drugs, and by the way, they quit the DARE program over that, right there in Chehalis, Washington. You know, I don't know if your DARE program goes on nationwide anymore, but in Lewis County, Washington, that fucking shit came to a fucking really quick end. And you know, when I took over the Fairways Bowling Center, and you know, I had the same goddamn similar problems, was a bunch of fucking drug addicts undermining and stuff, you know, and anybody that wrote statements from me around that bowling alley, well, they're condemned, especially that bartender. You know, she wrote out a statement against me that was absolutely untrue. I'll tell you, I came in that bowling alley and I checked out that place and I cased the place to buy it. Why the fuck wouldn't I? I went in there and Danny Kostick showed me the books and everything, and I had a goddamn deal with them. I also had a contract signed with the people. And that bartender, you know, she didn't know who the fuck was the silent owner in this, the silent buyer and stuff. She told me, you know, I'd come in there and she'd just tell me, she says, fuck, just drop me a tip right there. She goes, I'll just pour for you all night long. She goes, drop a 20 in there, I'll pour for you all night long. I don't care, this place is going down. And this was going on for fucking months. I'd just slip in there, drop a 20 in there, and just fucking do my thing and fucking just laugh like it was a goddamn joke. And then I was in there, and she goes, they're going to come in, they're going to have a fucking meeting right over here. Who's going to have the meeting? The new owner is coming in. They're coming in. They're going to take this place over real quick, you know. And the new owners, they're going to be right there. Just, you might just want to sit back and maybe even, you know, whatever. And here Bob Kling comes in and sits down, and Danny Kostick and everybody comes in, they a little smile, gives me a little smile over there, and I fucking walk over there and I sit right down next to him at the thing. And all of a sudden that lady just fucking crapped. And now all the rest of you can crap goddamn too, because I didn't know what the fuck was going on. You know, they ripped me off for over $400,000, and all I have to say is, you're gonna burn in hell for it. I walked away from it. I even had, you know, you guys framed Rick Rife. Rick Rife, I said, I want out of Thanksgiving last year, and I'm still not fucking happy with any of you up there in Lewis County, or possibly any fucking sheriff anywhere, anytime, any place. There was a person that dropped dead next to my motorhome last year, and all the fucking sheriffs was out there, and they fucking knew I was right there. D.B. Cooper said right in the fucking windows and stuff. They wouldn't even fucking talk to me with a shirt on. And I just sat there and fucking smiled at them. I stopped talking to a couple people that I knew and smiled, and you know what? There was just like, they could fucking look straight up. These sheriffs could not fucking look straight up in the air. And by the way, they're overweight. They don't do their jobs. You don't take care of yourselves. What do you eat? Pig? Pig for pig. Hey, I'll tell you what. When I seen those pictures of the bowling alley, you know, Morton Bowling Alley, it's just dark like a fucking dungeon. You guys set it up like it was the Dungeon of Doom, just like Herb calls it, the dungeon. He says, no wonder no one could beat you. He says, you came from the fucking dungeon, John. Herb knew I came from fucking hell too. And it was all just a big goddamn game. And you know what? I was told, hey, we're all in it together. You know what? That's exactly what I got from the people that's in hell. Even Terry Lance Shortridge, we're all in it together. And you know what? I know a lot about fallen angels. Now, I might know more about fallen angels than I do about witchcraft, for sure. Fallen angels has colored eyes that are certain colors. You see? like mine. But their eyes are just a little bit even different. Mine are green gold. Very fucking rare. See? Look at my eyes. They're green and gold. Very fucking rare. And anyway, I was told that, you've got green gold eyes. And in the sunlight, you could see them just almost yellow. Yellow-green. And I wear sunglasses all the time, and no one's ever really seen them that much before. You see. So anyway, I have a few people, and I even talked to Jess and William, about those two being fallen angels, because, and I think I got his number too, because, there's difference in things. But I do know now, my Aunt Jeannie, I would probably say my Aunt Jeannie was a fallen angel. And, I don't know about my Aunt Pat. I don't think my Aunt Pat was. But now, and I'm not sure about Marietta. I think Marietta was just an outright witch. And I think Bonnie's an outright witch. And I think Patty's a fallen angel is what I think my little sister Patty is. Patty L. Wright. I do think she is actually a fallen angel. And she has the color of eyes too. And let's see, you can tell by a color of eyes what I have noticed. And I'm not even really pissed off at my sister Patty L. If you're alive and well, Patty, good. I wish you the best because you're from Adam's rib and you're out of the equation. Now, your sister Bonnie was outright goddamn abusive. And what did she call me? A leech. Well, I don't owe anybody any fucking money. I may owe a little on my overdraft. In just a few days, that gets taken care of course. I've always taken my bills, and I've always set the price of things that I'd pay. If that doesn't even sound like it's a fair fucking price. And you know what? I'd give them the fair price, and you know why? So there wouldn't be no bitching about, he didn't even pay me what was fair. I always went out of the way, and I even, while I was at Bonnie and Ernie's, I even upped the rent so no one could complain. And I was totally cursed. Oh, I was totally cursed. From right there at that Donahoe house till the time I spun that wheel in that 37-foot motorhome that was over at Ernie's place that I paid Kevin $2,000 for. And I don't care about the motorhome or anything. It's just like I told Kevin, hey, I'll just think of it this way. I paid $2,000 for rent on that fucking motorhome for 6 or 8 months. It didn't take long from the one it back after I turned it into a small bowling alley right there in their fucking yard and put a thing like a bowling alley on it, said Alpine Bowl, and all this shit out there in their fucking yard overnight, just ripped it off. Because why? Wasn't that fucking something? I just cover it up and I just do it. Then it went like this, and they fucking did it. I did it in the middle of the night even to do the final touches. I even put this championship belt there right on the front bumper, like I'll fucking run right into you and fucking hit you with the left-hand move driving the fucking vehicle. You should watch the videos because I've been into this. Then I'll tell you, having my best friend fucking murdered in front of me would not do you any goddamn good. And by the way, Jim Wright had no goddamn control because he goes, I just murdered my best friend. And Patty, hey, Patty said she's seen Jim downstairs, and I mean, she should know. Patty knew what was going on. And also, Patty was at dinner at my dad's house when I brought that black Lisa over there, and my dad invited us over to have dinner. He knew that black Lisa was over there waiting for me at my house that I rent from him next door to him. My gosh, that girl got her hands and feet cut off. And by the way, Satan and Eve has everything to do with this too, by the way. And I want to say Satan and Eve can come into people and make things happen is what the evidence shows me. Now, if somebody walks in and just fucking blows somebody away, and that person's been doing goddamn bad, and that person starts going, I don't know why I fucking did that. That's because you fucking pissed Satan and Eve off, and they can use anybody. Hey man, guy that works down at the local coast-to-coast gun shop pulls off a gun off the rack, goes walking out, walks out, pow! What the fuck just happened? I mean, my brother Jerry bought a gun at the coast-to-coast store. They fucking walked out of the fucking building, comes around the corner, they make eye contact with me, and the next thing I know, me and my friends in my bedroom, that gun's turned on them and they're shooting them. Now that's what that is. And they said it was a weak spring. They call it the accident. They get at the luxury of calling it the accident, and then they used me, you know, the threatening things that they said. Jim threatened me, Bonnie said things to me, you know, all of this goddamn bullshit. And I'm being threatened. Hey, I'm just a minor. We're going to be back together again. Fucking all this fucking sick shit. I always wanted to know what it was like to kill somebody, Jim tells me. Well, great. How do you feel now, Jim? Now I get to sit there and say, yeah, Jim, you did admit that to the Lord. Isn't that funny? Isn't that fucking funny now? Here, let me do this. I got my other computers and stuff in the other car. So I got computers here, I got computers there. I'm going to put a solar panel right on the roof of that car and put a power converter in it so I could just have internet service in that. I don't have to move it back and forth. But you know, all these people down here and all those people at grocery outlet and stuff, why they made a mess out there in those fucking parking lots, because they could buy those goddamn fireworks and they could take them over in their fucking other people's parking lot and fucking totally destroy it and mark their fucking territory. Well, that fucking behavior right now needs to be outlawed, period. For one, if you're buying fireworks, you better have a fucking place where you're going to take them to your own fucking home and set them off, because that's a part of goddamn freedom. Having your own piece of property, having your own home, having your own piece of roof under your head, and having cars over your head, and the luxuries that you do have as a fucking tax-paying American citizen. But you don't even have jobs and stuff, and you mooch off the fucking world, a bunch of fucking moochers, and you're totally able to work, totally able. But you're too proud to work and you're too poor to pay. But you're not too poor to panhandle. And you know what? And one of the reasons why, and one of the big reasons is you never got off your mama's tit. And Denise Johnson told me that about that. The psychiatrist's wife. And that would be Mark Johnson at the Capitol Medical Center's wife, ex-wife, Denise, which was a drunk and a heroin addict. And Mark should have never fucked his patient because Mark crossed the line, didn't you, Mark? Denise told me all about it, and you totally did it. Oh, you totally did it, Mark. And the terrible thing about Mark is he become the Minuteman. The Minuteman. Because Denise could shame him so fucking bad that he couldn't even get it up for Denise and make her fucking happy. He fucking crossed the line, but he took advantage of a drunk and a heroin addict, you know? He never did her no good. Matter of fact, he knocked her up, and they had a boy named Devin. And may Devin, I hope you go to heaven. Because Devin was a nice young man. Mark Johnson wasn't a bad guy either. But he crossed the line, and I know both Mark and Denise and DJ Blue which worked up there on the Axeman show with the Nakano's logging job operation that Chuck and his family had. And I'll tell you another thing, since we're here, and I'm telling truths. When I was up there and I seen Chuck Nakano recently and his daughter, and I was in the house and I got the opportunity to talk to Chuck and his daughter. I never got to talk to them the second time. Well, the daughter kind of cut me off, telling me how old she is, 43 and all this stuff. I'm not looking for a date and all that stuff. And I thought that was a little over. But I did find her attractive. I'm not saying I didn't find Chuck's daughter attractive, damn it. I mean, if I could fix this up and, well, we'll talk about this later, maybe. Probably not. But anyway, you guys goddamn know I'm a funny motherfucker, Chuck. Now, Chuck and me and her, we got to sit in that room, and I started asking about people that I fucking was interested in. The first person I think I said was, Bob Fasano. Bob Fasano's dead. Oh, I mean, Bob Fasano's last time I talked about him, we had words, and I think I documented before. I was talking to him, he don't believe in God, he gave me that line, and I told him about James Rowland and all this sort of stuff was going on, and he had legal problems too, and I said, James Rowland is an excellent attorney, he's a killer attorney, you should go with James Rowland. James Rowland could get you your fucking pension. I told him, I said, everything about this Jerry Moore and everything. And Pat Urian just recently asked me about Jerry Moore because I had the information about the Jerry Moore case, which was Pat's mom's friend. Pat, Marilyn is her name. Marilyn, like Marilyn Monroe. Pat's mother was a really nice woman. And she had really super long hair. And she was a Catholic woman that had like a whole bunch of kids that never used birth control. Now, Pat comes from a whole line of Urians. Okay. Just because urine is in the name doesn't mean he's pissed. He'll make you piss your fucking pants if you piss him off. And I don't know about the rest of them, but I'll tell you what, if Pat the Barracuda gets a hold of you, you're gonna pay. So anyway, Pat, all of these things go on. And anyway, I'm over there with Chuck and them, and I ask about this person, and they're dead. And then, well, what about Gary? Gary's dead too. Gary's dead too. Well, I love Gary, to be honest with you. I really like, and I like Bob. I mean, Gary was really nice. He had this white Mustang, and I always liked Gary. Gary just was really super nice and cool. It's too bad that he died so premature because I think he was at least 15 years younger than me. And, at least. So anyway, every person that I mentioned was dead. I finally said, Steve Fasano, is he dead? And she goes, no, Steve's not dead. Oh, I go, good, I love Steve. She goes, I love Steve too. She goes, he's like my second dad, and I can understand that because her mom was with Debbie. And when she said something about her mom, she said, well, my mom's Debbie. I said, yeah, your mom's Debbie. Debbie's Debbie. Debbie's Debbie. Debbie's always going to be Debbie. I knew Debbie when they just broke up, her and Chuck. They still got along together. I still seen them time and time again together and stuff like this. I mean, I thought Debbie and Chuck worked it out really good how they did the kids and stuff. And that's one thing I did admire about Chuck Nakano. And probably one of the reasons that we got along all these years is because the fact that I felt that Chuck always did good for his kids, the best interest of them. Now, the day that, I was up there when the fire started, I was up there and then I was driven home and Chuck took me back up to the yarder and stuff later because it was on fire. Well, we got to his house. That's our place. It's on fire. I know our logging place. Oh, yeah, I bet you would. And you just so happen to put yourself in the place at the time. And then they took me up there, and then they tried to get me inside with that fire too. And I think now, I even thought then, I'm not going in that fucking fire. You don't pay me a goddamn enough. And I fucking closed the door and I said, I'm not going in there. And these people wanted to take me up into that fire thing. And then after that, I almost got cut in half by that fucking cable, north bending, cleaning that fucking place out. And also, before I got hurt, Chuck's dad fucking went like this and hit Chuck with the fucking grapples. What were they trying to do? Kill people on that fucking landing like Chuck and me? I don't think that would have hurt Chuck, but I goddamn tell you, when those grapples from that draught, his dad went like this and fucking swung that thing back and fucking hit him. He swung it back like this and hit him. Like that. And I fucking watched Dave do it to Chuck. And Chuck just went with that motherfucker. I couldn't fucking believe it was happening, or I would have fucking yelled. Chuck fucking went like that, just goddamn fucking, just almost got knocked off his fucking feet. He grabbed fucking rocks and stuff and started throwing them at his dad. And his dad turned that fucking old draught, it was a draught backhoe that they used as a logging machine, you know. They just put different stuff on it and made it work. And it worked fine. Dave ran that fucking draught. So Chuck drove the 235 cat shovel, and every bit of those fucking Mecanos dumped that fucking job. Almost every bit of pressure, I think, was laid on Chuck all the time. And you know, Chuck took a lot of goddamn pressure on that fucking job and stuff. And that's why people and things happened the way they did. You know, a yarder got burnt up. You know, that big yarder, all that fucking wood and everything, and I don't know exactly what the intention was up there, but it may have been a little bit more than it was. You know, but anyway, 4th of July, I've heard a lot of fire booming and stuff like that. And I will tell you another thing. I drove down there, and down by the laundromat, hey, it's all fucking cleaned up. You know, over there by Susan's, it's cleaned up. At least it's goddamn clean there. Where she's at the laundromat, it was terrible at the fucking park. I don't think that being there at the laundromat's a good goddamn thing because, well, you know, she's living on little Tijuana. Tijuana, I guess, is 6th Street right there. It's right there where the Rama is and the church. The church right there, that Church of Rock, that Church of Rock is the Church of Jesus Christ, and that's just a cult. I will not walk into that building. I've told people before, you know, D.B. Cooper's son here, I'm on YouTube. But I will not walk into one of those fucking churches because they're cults. You got cults in this here town that's running right inside there. They can't say Yashua inside the church, and they can't say Yashua outside the church. They're a cult. If you can't say Yashua inside the church and Yashua outside the church, you're a fucking cult. And Chuck, the reason that all that goddamn shit happened to you, and even you get cut in the accidents and stuff, was because you fucking goddamn bitches were fucking doing shit behind my goddamn back. I almost got killed up on your property, up on that logging job too. And I'll tell you what, if I didn't get out of the way of that line coming across, it may have just hurt me fucking and killed me. Really bad. It would have hurt me. I got hurt anyway. You know, I broke my ankle, I broke my leg, and I broke my knee all at one fucking time. Okay? And that would be considered really attempted murder now. I mean, with everything that was happening, Chuck, they even put a fucking hit on you up there in a way. I mean, why in the fuck would your dad go like this and hit you on the back after the fuck? Well, maybe you lit that place on fire and he just wanted to show me that you were the one that did it too. I don't know. You guys answer the questions. I know that everything's always been goddamn dumped on me, and I've witnessed the things that these fucking people have done. And Jerry and Chuck's friends. So anyway, you can watch the videos and stuff. I don't know if I'm singing anything tonight. I'm just going to raise this up, put this on, and I'm just telling you, you guys need to treat people better. And by the way, for all these freeloaders out there that's blowing off fireworks and stuff like that, that's getting money from your folks and stuff, you know, don't do it. Don't bother people because you'll be condemned. Yashua is the name of the Lord. And don't be following Eve and Satan no more, because Eve and Satan will get you in trouble. And Eve and Satan will come and kill you and lure you into a trap. And then you will be annihilated. And I don't want that. And you don't want that. Do we want that? Do we want that over the 4th of July weekend or any time in the near future? And Donald Trump is not going to have one booming fucking party here in the United States of America for the next fucking year-long fucking party, so he could just torment people like what he wants to do and blow his fucking trumpets. Fuck you and your fucking lips, Mr. Trump. You can go give lip service to someone else, but you'll never give me lip service. And neither will the rest of you. Why? Because you're not fucking entitled to fucking harass me or even lean on me. Don't ask me for 50 fucking cents, because I fucking just won't give it to you. And for the girl down there that gave me the flip off, I don't even see you in this town no more. You're gone like the wind. And the other woman that I met down there at I actually met her at Steamboat Landing. I gave her a hula hoop along with Jess. And Sir William was there too. And the woman came back. And you know what? Dealing with some other people and stuff, I didn't think that I'd met her before, but when I seen her vehicle, I recognized her. And she must have watched these videos and stuff, because she had stickers all over the fucking windows, and she's cleaned them off her fucking windows. As a matter of fact, she came right here in front of my motorhome here on Ash Street and pulled up there, and I think pretty much showed me, you know, I cleaned the windows off the back of my vehicle. And then she made sure that I seen her, and she has a pretty good looking tail on her too, just like I thought she did. And by the way, wasn't that a funny conversation that I had with you in the U.S. Bank parking lot? When I see, here, this says it all. I get these little beads left for me all over the place, and little things too. That's very cute. And this one here, Eve left me. You see, this one says peace on it. I'm supposed to choose peace. She would like me to choose peace anyway. You know, because if I get hurt, she gets hurt. If I get my knuckles bloody, she hurts. If I get hurt, she fucking here. If I get cut, she fucking gets cut, and it's like fucking acid in hell. Don't nick yourself. Don't cut yourself, John. Don't do this, John. Please don't hurt yourself today, John. And when other people tell me, please, John, be safe, I already get this from Eve. You don't have, and I just laugh at them. They go, John, please be safe, because you know, and I'm like, you're telling me, or the woman from the bank down here, and I just love her. I think I love all the women out down at the banks anyway, but her name's Trisha, and that's the same name as my sister Patty's daughter Trisha, which I do love. Yashua inside the cup, Yashua outside the cup, and I'm so glad that all of you kids are out of the equation, because you're girls, to be honest with you. You know, the Lord can kill somebody, and the Lord can bring them back to life too. You know, and I mean that, like Marietta. Hey, God wants me to forgive everybody. And you know what I tell this whole fucking thing down in hell? I fucking will never forgive Marietta for what she's goddamn done. Well, why would I fucking forgive any of you if I can't forgive my mother? So, if I can't forgive all of you, this is really the bottom line to this one. And I knew this one was coming today too, because God told me this one. You know, the bottom line is if I can't forgive Marietta, nobody's forgiven. If I can't forgive Marietta, even, if I can't forgive my own mother, I'm supposed to honor my father and mother. You know, if I can't forgive my mother, just like Jerry, if you can't forgive even your mother, you won't be saved either. You see, But it's downed on me. But you know what? But you're going to burn more for not. Even that. Which, if you forgive those, you'll be forgiven. Now, I'm forgiven no matter what. You see, when I die, no matter what, I'm just dead. I don't feel no fucking pain. But you'll go where the worms don't die. And Susan Donahoe was telling me those things, and an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth, and everything else. And I tell you another thing about this Susan Donahoe. Before Friday the 13th, she was telling me how everybody, they owe her everything. They owe her everything. They owe her everything. You know, like she's going to get goddamn everything. And this paper mill, she's going to get free car washes for life. They used to have a car wash down there, but they chain linked it across. They fucking did away with the parking and probably those employees do automation over there next door. And let's see. And she goddamn was telling me how all this, and the children hate her down at the parks, and all this, and everybody owes her and owes her and over. And then I found out that I got spun out of hell. He got spun into hell. I was in a place like in limbo, like fucking intermediate place coming out, and he's in an intermediate place going in. And she had the information that she was going in, and by the way, she was trying to fucking cock block me and curse me all the way in Lewis County. Eve had to come clean and tell me how they were all double-crossing me, and they're all fucking working together. Oh, this whole goddamn cult. And you know what? I know all about it. So when I see you fucking cult members out there, fuck you all. Hey, it's Yashua inside the cup, Yashua outside the cup, and Susan Donahoe. You know, you may have been part of it. You may have been used. You may have had Satan come right into you and play your own goddamn part and think that you're actually something special because you said yourself, J. Susan backwards Jesus, and you're part of the fucking cult, and I fucking figured it all out anyway, and goddamn it, you told me you were a witch and a whore, and all that stuff up there, and you think that you're the fucking cock of the fucking walk down there in little fucking Tijuana. Isn't that funny? I want all of you fucking people out there with vehicles to come within compliance of, hey, you know what? As far as I know, you could park those vehicles along the fucking street just like any commercial vehicle because it's fucking licensed and insured. If it's not licensed and insured, you have no business to have that fucking piece of vehicle on the fucking road. And it should pass in fucking inspections. And by the way, I say that they do bring back fucking inspections. By lowering the fucking standards, you guys let all these people run around with fucking loud goddamn exhausts, and it fucking bothers people. And by the way, it ruined the goddamn economy. People don't want to listen to that crap, and they don't even want to go down to the stores and spend fucking money. And those stores complain because they don't get money. And those stores don't deserve money because they have riffraff in their fucking parking lots. Inside the stores, there's the same fucking people that are out in the parking lot got jobs in the fucking store. You've lowered your fucking standards on even applications. Andrew was a decent employee over a grocery outlet, and they fucking canned him about the time I dumped grocery outlet. And I didn't know they fired. They never fired him. Andrew just walked. Poor management. He told me it was about the management stuff. If he's over there working at grocery outlet, more power to him. He told me he'd go back to work for him. It was just an issue about what was going on at the time. Andrew's a decent man. He never talked to me bad once in my life. A lot of other employees are good at people over there in that store. And grocery outlet, Tracy, you know you got a goddamn problem. My mom was a man hater. She told me all about hating men. Maybe a lot of you hate men. I don't blame you for hating men. I hate them too, and I'm one of them. I told my mom about that too. You hate men, and I am one. You know, I didn't mean to, she starts, I didn't mean to. Shit, she meant every goddamn thing she did. She just didn't know what to fucking say when I was fucking confronting her with it. And what are you going to do when I confront you with it? And I'm the Holy Father's son. I'm Adam in the flesh, and Eve was my wife. I can do any fucking thing I want. I can go out with anyone I want. I can fuck anyone I want. And by the way, I don't want to fuck any married man's wife. You can keep your own wife, and wife, you can keep your own man. I'm just saying that the woman wears the red fucking panties, and she could put her little panties, put it in her fucking hair, and put it in her head like that little headband like some of my girlfriends do. And they often go like this, and they fling it off and slingshot it at me. You know what I mean? But these here men, they would like to think that they got the red panties on their head, because if you wear red panties on your head, you're a wannabe. You're actually you're a gifted butt fucker, huh? Hey, you know what? I said to a woman, and I just like to say these things because it's true. I was down at Rite Aid getting some beer just this morning, and I come and I got the beer, and I come around the corner. I seen the girl I like over there. She just works there. I waved at her on the way, and she smiled. And I went out, I got my beer, and I come back. And this woman, and she's really good looking, comes to the end of her aisle, and she steps out. She's ahead of me. And she's like steps back. Maybe I scared her because maybe I'm getting a little more size or something. I stepped back and I said, you're here first. I said, it's ladies first. And she looked like, is this for fucking real? This guy's saying ladies first. And I said, and she's really gorgeous. She's really a very good looking woman. She's not dressed for, meeting somebody in the morning, you could tell. And she gets this look on her, and I said, please, ladies first. I said, it's ladies first where I come from. I said, I know what your problem is. I said, you're used to dealing with people with little red hats on. And that woman just fucking smiled because she goddamn knew I fucking just banged it. These men wear red fucking hats that go like this in front of women. I'm the boss here. I'm the boss. I got the red. I meet people on the trail, and a man's walking up with a group of people, and I go, you must be the leader. He goes, yes, I am. And I go, I'm D.B. Cooper's son. All of a sudden, his head goes down. They can't even face me. And then the first women that are closest to him, they start laughing like it's a fucking joke. I said, I've got friends that's in the cemetery. I said, John T. Wright at YouTube. Ladies, please tune in. I got a special message for you. And this guy isn't a man. This guy is not even a man. Hey, they've got him marching up in front of them. Hey, it's ladies first, believe me. I could have talked and sweet talked to all those ladies behind him, which I just told them all openly where to come to it. John T. Wright at YouTube. And I'm D.B. Cooper's son. My dad was a Zodiac too, just to let you know. Especially when that guy kind of gave me that, I don't care. And sometimes they'll even say something like, I don't give a fuck about that. It's because I just inflated their fucking tire. You're a fucking cult. And they've been living the life of a luxury, like the sheriff's office said up there. The sheriff told me when he went up there to serve Kevin Baker, living the life of luxury of the sheriff's office, doing the D.B. Cooper crime, and doing bullshit in the United States of America. When I see the reflections and everything, you can goddamn know I'm telling you the fucking truth now. And I'm enjoying doing it. And by the way, if it wasn't true, there wouldn't be so much writing for me on the tube sock mineral killing and everything else. And you guys, they broke into my house. They fucking went through my computer's diaries and everything, trying to figure out how much of everything I knew. When I was putting things together, hey, it wasn't my fault I've been putting a fucking diary together, because I was keeping tabs on my wife about this here boy. And boy, I had a fucking reason to too, because she was just a goddamn cunt. Kathy Michelle Ding Dong Ingdahl. I took care of her grandfather, and here's a story. I got lots of stories. But I cleaned the car, this white Ford Tempo, really clean. Her grandpa had passed away, and her and Brian went to the funeral. And when they got down there by Alaska, something happened. She looked down. They looked up. There's a feather right across the dash. And it was right there. Where did that come from? You know, like this. Kathy comes in after the funeral. She came in the house. She walks over. She just hands it to me. She goes, I think I'm supposed to hand this to you. She doesn't know about the story of me and her grandfather having a conversation about if there's life after death, float me back a feather. And lo and behold, that's what transpired between that situation. And it was a very short period of time, and it happened. And usually when I say things, they happen about as fast as I happen. So I also found out that, like in that contract, if I say it, it will be so. You know, I don't want people to die. I want people to live. And I told Ernie Tobeck that. I said, you know, Ernie, I said, well, I'll hang people, of course. I'll fucking hang people by the rope and tap them on the thing and say, sayonara, you're dead. And Ernie, I'd hang you too. For whatever reasons I have, I would hang you. I know I'd hang Bonnie. I'd probably tap you on the shoulder and say, you're not getting what Bonnie got. Because you wanted what Bonnie got, and I'm not going to give you what Bonnie wanted to give you. And Ernie, it's Yashua inside the cup, Yashua outside the cup. Me and Ernie had lots of good conversations and stuff, and it's sorry that it had to end that way. And I'll talk to you and everybody else later, and have a fabulous day. And MTM Mountaintop Music Show, I don't know what's going to happen tonight, but you know what? It's the 4th of July weekend. Just go out and have a safe night, would you please? And I'll tell you, I'm going to be putting earplugs in my ears, and I'm just going to fucking keep it down and quiet. Last night I ended up at the Beacon Rock area, taking a shower, an hour shower, hot fucking water, and a shower and stuff for an hour, just relaxing and getting this knocked off. And then I watched the fireworks from a large distance away, you know, the stuff after 11 o'clock through midnight, I think. And then I came back to my motorhome here. But you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll tell you, post-traumatic stress disorder is nothing that no one should have to live with, and no one should be laughing about the circumstance of someone else, especially when you're causing it. And by you acting out towards others, you're causing problems, that's causing frictions, and it's actually causing problems within the whole earth. It bothers the people that you love that's in hell, that's dead, that you're bitter about. Them leaving you. Even like, hey, we all have feelings now, don't we? Now let's think about things. It's Yashua inside the cup. It's Yashua outside the cup. You know, I have to fucking forgive everybody in order for you guys to be forgiven. And by the way, if I can't forgive Marietta, I can't fucking forgive you guys if you're acting out. So if you guys just goddamn stop acting out, maybe I might even forgive Marietta. But I will never say that I will forgive Marietta for sure, because I goddamn don't think I can. Especially with all this bullshit and the residual effects from Susan Jane Donahoe at 1007th through this whole goddamn bullshit. Rick Rife should be out of prison. That's another thing that fucking bothers me. And it frictions everyone. Why was Rick Rife ever placed in jail only to take the heat off of Jerry Wright, my brother? And welcome to my world, Jerry. I want you fucking incarcerated. And I want Rick Rife to be sitting next to me, because he was his brother was more of a friend than you was ever a goddamn brother. I knew Rick Rife, and you motherfuckers framed his brother.